freaking Ashley, man. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. It is me, screaming into the void of the internet. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get right on with the topic. And funnily enough, I have to actually re-record this because good old family, for some reason, gotta come asking stupid questions for some reason, but, you know, whatever, I guess. The topic is about parenting, you know, mainly from the men's perspective. And so I'm gonna, get into several topics here. I'm gonna try not to ramble too much. This video might be a bit longer than what I've usually been doing, like the 10-minute ones. This might go on to maybe 20, 15, you know, somewhere around there. But yeah, parenting. You know, I think it's rather odd, in my opinion, that we're in a day and age where a whole bunch of people, you know, are constantly asking what's going on with the birth rate. Why is the birth rate declining and stuff like that? And I'm like, you know, dude, from a male's perspective, what incentive is there to have kids, right? Usually the incentive to have kids in general is, you have to be in a relationship. And most of us, personally, are in instances where we have never been in a relationship. Or even the people that are currently in a relationship are, in toxic ones, because people in the West do not want to work out their problems anymore. You know, the moment that there is even a small bit of turbulence in most people's lives in the West, they just leave. They just leave. They refuse to ride out the turbulence. You know, look at how many friends, you know, essentially stopped being friends during 2020 over a certain stabby stab, if you catch my drift. Or their stance on, masks, or how the government was handling the whole thing. Look at how many people stopped being friends because of that. You know, we're in a day and age where people don't want to work their problems out. And so, a relationship isn't going to work. And then let alone, a marriage where, the kids are involved and stuff like that. The freaking rate of divorce in America is, 50%. It's probably 60% in some places, to be honest. But, you know, you look at that and then you see who usually gets the kids, and it's the freaking... It's the wife. And for some reason, they don't go by... shouldn't the person who gets the kids, in my opinion, shouldn't it be, the most mentally and financially stable person? Why is it that someone who basically could have been sitting on their arse the entire time while one person was earning an income, why should they get the kids just because they got a snatch? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand that. But there's a lot that I don't understand about this world, so, I mean, I guess that's nothing new. But I was also going to say, why is it us that, don't want the kids, that, seem to have far more concern for children than the people that do have the kids? Listen, I'm going to be honest, I don't think I'll be a good parent, you know? I kind of talk about this with my friend, not often, but, he says, oh, no, you'd be a good parent, dude, because, you at least care about, what they would need, morally, financially, you know, physically and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, but at the end of the day, I don't know how to navigate this crap, dude. I'm over here, trying to make crap work, and I get that, you know, I'm 25 now, you know, I still have, air quotes, you know, God's will, a long life ahead of me, you know, but I don't know what the freaking future holds. I don't know what the future of this country is. Heck, we're in 2024, and it's freaking election year, and God knows how this crap's gonna go down. Especially with the funny business that happened, you know, last election. And regardless of what anyone's stance on, any freaking presidential candidate is, if you're gonna look at what happened last year, not last year, but last election, and say that no funny business happened, I just don't know what to tell you. You know, I really don't. But, you know, I don't know how things are going to play out. I don't know how they're going to be. And if I can barely, get by on my own, I really shouldn't be thinking about being a parent. And I really don't have the patience for kids. I really don't. You know, I care about them from a distance, but I don't care about them enough to, want to have one in my life and just deal with it, just nonstop. It just feels like it would rob me personally of so much freedom that I want to do. You know, throughout most of my life, I haven't been able to do what I want to do. And once you have kids, you really can't do what you want to do. Seriously, you can't. You can't. It becomes, in my opinion, about like what is best for that kid. So, yeah. Although I will say that I've noticed that parents who are not as serious about the kids, and I don't mean not serious about the kids like they don't love them, they don't care about like giving them quality stuff, but the ones who seem like just dead set on giving them fun and stuff like that, they seem to have usually a better relationship, because it's like, it seems like they were just living life with their kids. Like I look at like these Spanish people, and like they celebrate like their kids' birthday parties with like these Saiyan spaceships and stuff like that, because a lot of Spanish people love Dragon Ball Z, and you know, I whenever I have like been around Spanish friends and stuff like that, they just have this sense of wherever they are, they're having fun, and you know, that level of thinking just isn't here in America, because we're such a financially driven country, man. Like, it's just always like you have to have more. You can't ever be satisfied with what you have. You have to have more, because oh, that's the best thing for the economy. You know, that's what they tell you. It's always about the economy, as if we're supposed to care about the economy that doesn't care about us. The economy F's our arse, and we're still supposed to care about it, right? You know, this is why I say, like, you know, maybe I should consider, like, I don't know, like getting on the RV, but getting an RV and just hitting the road, because it's like, if I lived like that, and I feel like if a whole bunch of people live like that, then they can easily just say F you to like the economy, F you to the government, because like one job would actually be able to, you know, cover everything. Freaking flies, F these nippers. Can't stand them. But like, just if you had that, then like you'd be more free. But I bet you the government will crack down on that. But I don't want to get too far off of that. But you know, getting back to the topic at hand, like, it's like him telling me that stuff, because he says like he feels like, you know, smart people should have kids, because like I guess he considers me smart, but you know, I don't really consider myself smart or important or anything. I'm just me, just a man, you know. And the thing about that kind of strategy is that even if the air quote smart people, god dang, there's a lot of mosquitoes out here. I'm trying to get this video done. Even if the smart people, right? I don't know if you could see them flying around. You probably can't because it's black and white. But even if the smart people have kids, right? The air quotes dumb ones, you know, will have more, because the smart people will only have like, you know, maybe 1, 2, so that like they can give the kids enough attention. They don't have to work themselves to death because there's too many kids that they have to provide for. You know, they'll only have a certain amount that they can hopefully take care of. But the people who don't care will just have as many as they want. You know, because unfortunately, there's no like parenting license or anything. And I get that even if there was a parenting license, like the state would just take advantage of that, because they could probably be like, oh well, what is your political opinion? What is your spiritual opinion? Oh, that is not the correct opinion to have, and so this, that, and the other. Oh, how much do you talk negatively about the government and stuff like that? So, you know, they could probably use that as like some kind of social credit system, to where like, oh, if you're not a good boy, you know, if you're talking negative about the government, then like, oh, they won't like let you have kids and stuff like that, you know. So, but I still feel like there needs to be something. There needs to be something in place. Like, in my opinion, it should mainly be if you are financially and mentally stable, right? If you're mentally unstable, you shouldn't have kids. If you're financially unstable, you shouldn't have kids, you know? And if those things change, you know, like if you're mentally unstable now because you're like at a very chaotic point in your life, then, you know, hopefully you'll get mentally stable. If you're financially unstable, then maybe you can hopefully become financially stable. And there are ways that we can off-put at least one of these, because I feel like maybe people who have kids should kind of like, this is why I say 2 is the magic number, right? They should get like on food, water, clothing, shelter, like utilities, stuff like that. They should get like a 20% discount. You know, like 20% off on rent, 20% off on like, you know, food. Not luxury food. I'm not saying like they can go into like, you know, a freaking restaurant and just get 20% off. I'm talking about, you know, food at the store. I think that would be a good idea. Like 20% off on clothes. You know, not luxury clothes, just clothes, like just standard clothes. I think that if we help make it be to the point where it is, you know, less of a burden and more of a blessing to have kids, Because if you don't have kids, then you don't have a future as a country, right? So they should want to make the process as easy and, unlike, I guess, as untroubling as possible, if that makes sense, because by that process, if you add up the two people, if you add up the two kids, then you can have a 40% off. And I get that in typical freaking fashion in this freaking country. Well, that's not sustainable on the economy. As though, listen, what is this crap about us having to sustain this economy that doesn't sustain us? That's not sustainable on the economy. Meanwhile, apparently, freaking $10 an hour is. When rent is, going up to, freaking $1,700. To be in the freaking slums. A rat-infested projects. $1,700? That's sustainable? But telling people who are, essentially going to give the country a freaking future, with my idea, of course, because obviously this is never going to happen, but, with my idea, that's unsustainable because, 40% off? On, the things, at least until, they're 18. It only goes up to 2. It's 20% per kid. So it would encourage people to have kids. I mean, because it would seem like, okay, life gets easier when you have kids. At least, from a financial perspective. It's not going to get easier. You're still going to have to raise them. They're still going to give you some chaos. They're still going to, drive you a little bit crazy sometimes. But at least the state would, make it a bit easier on them from a financial perspective, right? I look at these things and I have these ideas and I feel like I'm the only. I don't know what the heck just happened. I think there might be a. Oh, it is. It's a freaking squirrel. It was a squirrel on the roof of my patio. It was a squirrel. But yeah, I feel like that idea could work. I really do. I think that would be a good idea. But I don't know, dude. It's there's always people with ideas and they have no way to get them out there, and even if they could, the state just wouldn't take it because the state's so freaking dead set on just money, it's all they care about is how much money can they extort out of you. That's what comes first. They don't care about the quality of people, they don't care about the quality of citizens. It's just money, alright? I don't know, dude. I think that maybe what the future holds, you're just gonna see a lot less people popping out kids. We already have a bad fertility rate, the replacement rate, it's down, and there are countries that are just straight up, because I was talking to my friend about this, because Japan and Korea are putting things in place where they have visas. And my friend, and once I told him that, he actually looked it up because he was like, man, maybe I can get a hold of that. And because they're gonna pay people $70,000 in their currency. I don't know what it is in our currency to go over there and make a family. So yeah, and like I said, in my opinion, I understand that, I don't think it's a good idea because I don't want those people to lose their culture, because when you just start importing a whole bunch of immigration, then usually people are going to take their culture, right? So I don't want, because listen, I don't really care about people not being the same air quote grace, because I talked about this recently, in one of my videos. So you can look to that about my opinion on that, but I don't want them to lose their culture. I don't want anywhere to completely lose its culture. It's fine if cultures mix, but I still think that they should respect each other and they shouldn't try and replace one another. What is up with these freaking squirrels? Holy cow! That one sounded dead though. But I don't know, dude. I feel like we're in a generation that just has less and less fathers, and they have no incentive of actually giving these kids their father, and they need their father, dude. They need their father. Like, I say this as someone, like, who didn't have a dad, but, like, it's not accurate that I didn't have a dad. I just didn't have someone who was actually a father. I had someone who was a biological father, you know, obviously because I'm here, but, you know, like, the person I had in my life, he was just an abusive person until he, you know, abandoned us from, like, before I hit 12 years old. And once he abandoned us, I was, like, a lot more happy because I didn't have to be afraid of, you know, the so-called person who was supposed to, like, take care of me, stuff like that, you know. But I never looked down on anyone who actually had a dad and had what I didn't have. I just said, I wonder what it'd be like to actually have a dad who loves you. You know? I don't know, dude. It's I know that some people, like, when that stuff happens to them, they want to, like, they want some kind of reconciliation. I don't really care. Like, I'm glad that he's gone. I'm glad he's not a part of my life. And could I probably speak to him now? Probably for a little bit, but I still wouldn't really want to see him long term. I wouldn't, like, have the whole bitter thing where I'm just angry at him, because I'm like, listen, I get that life happens and stuff like that, but, like, taking whatever kind of stress you were dealing with out on your family, like, that's just not how you handle it. No one made you bring us into here. You were stupid, you know, you didn't use protection and stuff like that, and so here we are. It's your fault. Let's just be real. You know, you can't blame your kids when your life is harder because you chose to have kids. They didn't choose to be here. You were the one pumping away, you know. You were the one with your legs in the V, you know, so don't freaking blame them. But I don't know, man. You know, I don't know. This is why I just say, like, you know, maybe I should just get an RV, hit the road, because life will get cheaper. It will. It will get cheaper, but I feel like if that becomes really, really popular, there's a reason why you're seeing, like, all this tiny house stuff. You're seeing all this, like, these one-room little RVs and stuff like that. And they're just driving around with their little cabin with them. There's a reason why this is becoming popular, folks. It's becoming too expensive. Way too expensive. And people are making it seem like this is a problem that you can vote away, but I don't know, man. I don't think this is a problem you can vote away. I don't think so, because it's like one person can undo everything that someone did in the entire time that they were president. Why should they be able to do that? You know, like, I don't get that. I'm not trying to make this super political. I'm just saying, like, you know, this is mainly a video about parenting, and I feel like all these topics are important because they kind of tie into it, you know. We have, like, fatherless homes. People are growing up, like, without any kind of male guidance, and the people that do try and give male guidance are told that they're toxic. Like, it's insane. These freaking mosquitoes, I gotta hurry this up. It's insane to me. Don't really know what's gonna come from this, but I just say we just gotta keep trying, you know. That's all we can really do. I think that the guys that just decide to leave and just go to other countries, they probably have the best idea, because, like, if you can find a way to get American money flowing into, like, another country, then you're essentially set over there. And it's kind of effed up that you have to do that, because it's like America has had such a freaking foothold on all the other countries that their own currency, where they are, is less valuable than American currency. You know, like, it's so stupid, man. It's such a stupid thing. But at the same time, then maybe it's a good thing, because, like, it'll help stop America from being the freaking empire that it is. And if you think it's not an empire, then you tell me why we should have the right to, like, put military bases on other people's countries, and then if those people wanted a military base on our country, then it's a problem. You know, like, that's, come on, let's be obvious. Like, we know what that is. So, yeah. I think I'm just gonna leave it here, though. You know, I don't want to ramble too much, but yeah, man. We need to do something about this parenting stuff, but it's not gonna happen, because they don't care. They don't care about the fact that men, like, need to be parents. They don't care about the fact that, you know, like, there are guys that don't have male guidance, and I think it affects young boys. It affects, you know, like, young women too, but it's like, it affects young boys worse, because it's like, The women aren't being told that their femininity is toxic, while men are being told that their very nature is toxic. And these young guys are deciding to like end themselves really young because they can't cope with it and they think that their life is meaningless. And it's usually because they didn't have any kind of male guidance, you know? Like, a lot of men will tell you that, like, they had the same feelings when they were younger, but, like, life kind of got easier a bit for them as they aged, because, like, they learned how to get past that stuff, and they learned how to deal with it. And unfortunately, like, these younger guys don't have that, and so they don't have anyone that's telling them that, you know? And so they're falling into this depression and stuff. And I say that as, you know, someone who's only 25, but I don't know, I'm nowhere near as, you know, down as, like, these guys who I read about. Like, and I don't say that as an insult, I say that as, you know, a sad kind of thing. You know, they're already ready to just end themselves. They say that it's just a cope for them every day. It's a challenge to get out of the bed, and I get that, man. I do. I get that it can be a challenge, you know, like, but I don't let it, like, freaking stop me, because how I've lived my life, and I haven't ever really shared my full story, maybe I'll share it one day, but how I've lived my life is, I've never really been able to be in the position where I could just stay depressed to the extent that, you know, I don't do anything, because if I don't do anything, then nothing happens, you know. If I had that opinion, like, in very effed up points in my life, then I would have probably starved to death. I would have had a heat stroke. I would have been dehydrated, you know, and my siblings would have suffered, so. So, yeah, it's not really, I don't know. But I don't shame anyone on that. I don't shame anyone for that. I think that, like, young guys truly need male guidance. I feel like children need their father, but I think definitely, like, when men become like young men, they need their dad the most. That's when they really need their dad. They need guidance. They need advice. It's not like they need to be, you know, told every step of the way, but, you know, mentorship. You know, like, especially when it comes down to job training. Like, I hate that, like, no one wants to train the younger people. You know, they don't want to train the younger people. It's like they've got this stupid crap in place with this diversity hire, you know, where it's like they care more about ticking boxes than they actually care about credentials. And the way that you get credentials is you get experience, and the way that you get experience is someone is willing to mentor you. And no one is willing to do that. Everyone just wants you to just show up and have the skill. And it's just, how can you have the skill if no one's going to train you? It's not like you're unwilling, but no one's going to train you. I don't know, man. I don't know, but I think I'll just leave it here, you know. I'll leave it here. Thank you for watching, if you have. Let me know what your thoughts are on, like, the parenting and things that I talked about here. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too much. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.